A Gloucestershire council is 25 years out of date when it comes to managing sickness levels, which are not far off the double the national average, says its own health champion. Councillor Craig Lawton says his analysis shows that staff at Forest of Dean District Council appear to take almost twice as many sick days as the UK national average. According to the Conservative councillor for Oxenhall and Newent North East, the average number of days lost due to illness per employee was 7.33 in 2016-17. Craig Lawton in Cinderford, where university rates are low, the UK average for the same period was 4.3 days, according to the Office of National Statistics. But spokesmen for the council challenged the figures being used by Mr. Lawton and say the FODDC compares well with other councils. However, Mr. Lawton, the Forest of Dean's health champion, defended the figures obtained by a number of Freedom of Information requests. He stood by his assertion that the employees at the Colford-based council appear to be taking far more days off than those elsewhere. It is concerning to see that the average number of sick days per staff member has been so much more than the national average, he said. Losing staff for increased periods of time throughout the year can of course have a negative impact on the quality and amount of work carried out by the council, while also putting additional stress and strain on the remaining staff. He added, it is concerning that in 1993 the UK's sick leave average per employee was 7.2 days per year, the same what the council reported in 2017. You could say that Forest of Dean District Council is effectively 25 years behind the rest of the country in this way. Forest of Dean District Council offices in Colford. A spokesman for the Forest of Dean District Council said, "We can confirm that the sick absence rate for Forest of Dean District Council for 2016-17 was 7.3 days per person compared to an overall rate of 6.3 days for the UK, according to the Chartered Institute for Personnel and Development, CIPD. However, CIPD figures also show that the local government mean for that year was 9.9 days sick absence. Furthermore, given that about 250 people were employed by Forest DC during 2016-17, it is noteworthy that CIPD figures show the national average for workforces of 250 to 999 employees was 7.1 sick absence days per year during 2016-17. Councillor Lawton says figures supplied for the council show that for 2015-16 there were a total of 1,011 days lost due to illness, while the average number of full-time equivalent staff was 149. This average number of days of sick per member of staff that year was 6.77. The number of days lost in 2016-16 was lower, at 935. The number of full-time equivalent staff also dropped to 127. This meant the average days of sick per employee increased to 7.33 that year. For the 6 months up until October 2017, when staff transferred over to Publica, the Forest of Dean District Council lost 387 days to sickness. With the number of full-time equivalent staff for the 6th period up to October 2017 being 123, this meant the average number of days lost to sickness for April to October 2017 was 3.14. An average of 3.14 days of sick leave per staff member shows that the District Council was on course for a figure of 6.28 days sick leave for the entire financial year, says Councillor Lawton. While this would have been a slight drop from the previous year's 7.33 days, it is still far above the UK average. We have been working hard to reduce the number of short-term sick absences, but we are mindful that long-term absences can have a significant impact on statistics, especially across a relatively small workforce. Unlike short-term absences, there is very limited scope for expediting a return to work for staff with severe ailments. Nationally, there is growing concern about rising levels of mental health problems. Image. The figures are complicated because October 2017 saw a considerable number of district council staff transfer over to Publica, an organization owned by a number of the county's councils. Councillor Lawton added, now that the majority of staff are employed by the new Publica Group, one hope we will see the sickness levels of staff falling more in line with the rest of the UK for the benefit of local taxpayers and for the benefit and well-being of staff.